Is this a big football town?
It's a pretty big
I'm just
football
saying.
town.
Yeah. Super
Go
Bowl.
Chiefs.
Yeah, right. So I always use the football analogy because people get that. Football has two halves, the first half and the second half. And there's an old saying in football, the score at halftime is irrelevant. Give me the score at the end of the game, and then I'll tell you who won.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with retirement. There are two halves, the first half and the second half. But most people are only told by their financial advisors to keep accumulating, building, saving, and working and investing. That's only the first half. But most people play that game. They go in at halftime. They say, look at it, we did it. We have all the money we'll ever need for retirement. They pat themselves on the back, go in at halftime. Meanwhile, the IRS is coming out. They're playing the third and fourth quarter. They're playing nobody, so they win. That's because most advisors aren't trained in the second half of the game, the tax planning. This is all about tax. Remember, your IRAs, 401ks are tax deferred. It's the low-hanging fruit for IRS, for Congress. This money has not yet been taxed. That's why I created Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group, which Brad has been a member for over 15 years, just training on the tax planning so you can keep more of your hard-earned money. I want you to have more, keep more, and make it last. You want your plan, not the government plan. And people say, Ed, what is the government plan? You really want to know? That's easy. Do absolutely nothing and let it all happen to you.
It's perfect. We're going to talk about overtime because it's not just what happens at the end of the game. As we learned last night, in an overtime game last night, sometimes it's what happens after you're gone that determines everything. Let me ask you a question. This will just show people how confusing this is. You and I both have Roth IRAs.
Right.
When you have a Roth IRA, is there a required minimum distribution for the owner of the Roth IRA?
No.
No, because you've paid the tax. Now watch how interesting it gets. Is there a required minimum distribution for the heir of a Roth IRA?
There is at the end of the 10th year after death. But where the confusion comes in, IRS and Congress made this so confusing. For most of your beneficiaries now, there's no more of what we used to call the stretch IRA, where the beneficiaries, your children or even grandchildren, used to be able to go out and extend distributions, deferring the tax for 20, 30, 50, 70 years if you had a young grandchild.
Right.
That's all been gone since 2020 when the original Secure Act became effective, and it was replaced with a 10-year rule. Some reason Congress has been telling people, oh, you better save for retirement. Then you save. They say, oh, now we got you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You fell into our trap. And now they say they don't like this whole deferral. Why don't they like it? Because they have to wait too long for their money. And as you know, our country is broke thanks to Congress and all the plans they made, so they blame it on all the people who did everything right. I always say our tax system is a penalty on savers. It shouldn't be, but it is. So they replaced it with a 10-year rule saying, we want the tax. I'm saying Congress is saying this because that's what they put in the law, the original Secure Act. All that money out at the end of the 10th year after death. But then IRS came in and said, but wait a minute, when Congress wrote the law, they left another piece into it that most people aren't aware of. And for some beneficiaries, they will have to actually take RMD'S, required minimum distributions, for years 1 through 9 of that 10-year period. But not so if you leave them a Roth IRA. So this may be something where another incentive to convert to a Roth IRA, because your beneficiaries now, even under these new rules, can still hold that inherited Roth IRA for the full 10 years, growing, building, compounding income tax-free, and take it all out with all that tax-free accumulation at the end of 10 years after your death. So it's a pretty nice gift to do for your children and grandchildren.
And if you just listen to all that and your brain went poof, you're like, wait a second, let's back way back up. And that's why I've been a part of Ed Slott's Master Elite IRA Advisor Group since 2010. If you want to work with someone who stays on top of these rules, who knows how to protect and keep your money safe, who understands it's not what you make, it's what you keep that counts, then you're listening to the right program. Just call us anytime, 24 hours a day, 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233, and there's someone standing by right now to take your call.